Now, the Home Office has built up a stock of 16,000 properties to house asylum seekers, despite chronic shortages across the UK of homes for young people, families, veterans and the homeless. The Home Office have been offering landlords 5-year guaranteed full rent deals to take over the management of properties as they attempt to transfer asylum seekers out of hotels that cost £8 million a day, of course. Well, I can now speak with Russell Quirk, property expert on this. Russell, welcome to the show. Always a pleasure. Another incident, Russell, of Britons being at the back of the queue. 16,000 properties hoovered up by the government at great cost to the taxpayer. Once again, people wondering who on earth comes first in this country.
Yeah, so if you're one of the 1.2 million people that are on the UK housing waiting list, generally sort of people that are paid into the system and that are deserving of that social housing, you can be you can understand the sympathy that people will have for them, given that they are being put to the back of the queue, as you put it, whereby asylum seekers are being prioritised. And of course, this is not just asylum seekers. Let's be really honest here, Martin. This is often those that are coming over on dinghies with no ID, not women, not children, 25-year-olds from Albania, for instance, not a war-torn country, by the way, who are then being given priority by these idiotic councils and this haphazard, wayward, incompetent government over and above the people that are paid into the tax system. This 16,000 homes, by the way, this is just the tip of the iceberg, Martin. So you've got 16,000 homes that have been stockpiled by the Home Office on a rental basis. The average rent, by the way, in the UK is about £1,000 per month. So the calculation just for this particular initiative means that we're still paying £500,000 per day to rent those 16,000 homes. So Rishi Sunak's ridiculous kind of prophecy, or his decision, his policy, the revelation that he was going to appeal to the masses by taking people as asylum seekers out of hotels and hostels, that then should be lauded as some kind of clever initiative that we should give him credit for. All he's done is then take rental houses away from people that have paid into the system. But the other thing, Martin, sorry, just quickly, is there are councils across the country, and I've got a huge list here, just very, very, very quickly. Winchester, Preston, North Norfolk, North Yorkshire, Waltham Forest, Portsmouth, Basingstoke. These local authorities are actually buying homes, so new and used homes, specifically for the purposes of housing asylum seekers. So this is taking stock away from first-time buyers that otherwise would be able to buy those homes, and stock away from renters who actually have very, very little choice right now as it is, because there's a housing shortage. This is a disgrace, Martin.
Yeah, and Russell, expert overview there. Serco, Clear Springs and Mears, the three contractor companies to do this, have been paid £4 billion, Russell, over 10 years to hoover up this housing. And the councils you touched upon there, Russell, I'm especially fascinated by what I see as a kind of refugees welcome mindset that seems to continually become a working class problem. When you look at the communities where the cheap housing is being hoovered up, top of the list, places like Hull, Bradford, Teesside. What then happens, Russell, is you create ghettos. You create ghettos where locals can't afford housing, ghettos where asylum seekers are dumped, nowhere near where the policymakers live, nowhere near Gary Lineker's place, nowhere near the politicians driving this through, and it becomes a working class problem dumped on those communities with no say whatsoever.
Yeah, no, indeed. And the Home Office and indeed these councils, they are buying masses of properties in the areas that you and I have just referenced. So, without any cultural assimilation, I think, as we would call it, dumping these people, often not knowing who they are, not forgetting that a lot of these so-called asylum seekers are dumping their ID over the side of the dinghy into the English Channel, and expecting that integration, that neighbourhood dynamic to carry on without any issues. We've seen what's happened in asylum hostels and asylum hotels, where many have been set fire to. There have been all sorts of trouble. In fact, there's a statistic, Martin, that in the last 3 years, nearly 2,000 serious incidents of assault arson and sexual offences have occurred within those asylum hotels and hostels by people that are seeking asylum. That's just going to be transferred further into our communities, into housing, whereby these people are going to be living next door to us and opposite us.
Yeah, and Russell, there's a case that we've been following very closely on GB News on my show, and that's 300 asylum seekers being dumped into luxury apartments in Farnborough. There's been a huge backlash by the locals, but oftentimes, Russell, these communities, they're not politically motivated, they're not integrated, there's very little social cohesion, and so, once again, it's foisted upon those communities with no say in the matter.
Yeah, and look, we all know what the answer here is. That's to either turn back the boats, frankly, or to repatriate those people that shouldn't be here. Particularly, the 45% or so that actually don't receive asylum, they're not even removed. So these are the people, the asylum seekers that have had failed asylum applications that are still housed at the taxpayer's expense. So you've not even got the issue around so-called legitimate asylum seekers, bearing in mind we accept more asylum applications than just about any other country in Europe, so we're pretty soft. Imagine being an economic migrant from Albania, a 25-year-old with his new iPhone 15 and his kind of, expensive trainers and tracksuit, jumping on that boat thinking, I've absolutely made it in life. Britain, no wonder they're trawling through all of these European countries to get to us. Not only is Britain going to welcome that person and probably grant them asylum, you're going to get a free house, not just a hotel room, but a free house, as well as benefits, education, NHS and so on. It really is an utter disgrace. The government could do something about it. Clearly, Rishi Sunak and the Home Office, the bureaucrats, the civil service in the Home Office, for some odd reason are deciding not to, against the will of the British people.
Russell Quirk, excellent, brilliant, and yet slightly depressing analysis from you. Thank you very much for speaking out. As ever, always a pleasure.